Right, okay, we're in Moraira, and it is on the coast of Costa Blanca. And behind us, you can just see in the distance, is Fishy. And apparently it's a popular one. They've got a restaurant inside, where for seating, inside or outside, which is nice. You go in to the takeaway by going upstairs, and it's just there in front of you. And then you go and wait outside while they bring out your order. So they had plenty of choice on there, plenty of traditional choices. It wasn't built up on pizzas and burgers and chicken and all that kind of stuff and Chinese food with it. It was all about traditional food, and it looked great. Now, the cod, large cod and chips was £13, and we're going for a hake as well, because I've not actually tried fish battered hake. You wouldn't believe it, would you? But I haven't. And so we're going to try that as well, and that was £8 for fish and chips. That was a standard. So let's get cracking.
With £8 or euros?
Oh, euros. And it's broken apart there, so this is my wife's choice. Let's give it a go. And it's a beer batter. I don't have to try my wife's chips on this one because I've got my own and it's coming in a second. So I'm going to pass that over to my wife so she can enjoy it. Very tasty coleslaw. So let's get into this. Now, what I saw of the reviews was pretty good. It was good. Let's give that a try. Well, that is nice. Now, you know that you usually get quite a strong taste, a strong flavour of mayonnaise. You're not getting that with that. It's a creamier kind of taste, a creamier texture as well. It's lovely, and the vegetables in there are crunchy. Yeah, that's a nice coleslaw. I recommend that if you get down there. Now I'm going to go. I pinched a bit more of this hake because I wanted to dissect it a bit. Now the batter is lovely. Look at that. You can smell the freshness in that. It's a bit more earthy. That's the best way to describe it, really. And it's meaty. It really is meaty, not mushy at all. So that's nice. But it really goes well with that batter. Now, this is my large cod and chips. So I'm going to get a bit more salt on. I'm going to get some sarsens on. Normally do it the other way around, but hey. And I'm going to break a piece of this cod off here. Again, that batter. I just want to get stuck in. It looks absolutely fabulous. Let's try these chips. The chips look great. The chips look like they were cut with a press. Some nice crispy bits. Some decent long ones, all kinds of misshapes like I like. Absolutely delicious. Let's have a look at their tartar sauce. They get a little bit of that on the fork. You can see the capers in there. Not as tarty as I'd like. They do with a little bit more of a kick. But it is nice. Again, whatever mayonnaise they are using for these, it's creamy. and thick and lovely. Let's get a bit more of this cod in there. Look at that. It does complement the fish. So far, so good. Oh, that's some weight in that. And you know how I like my mushy peas? I like them thick. And look at that. You know what? This is a big surprise for me because I wasn't expecting great chippies from Spain. I just wasn't. Okay, the owners are likely had their own chippies in the UK at some point or somewhere else and had experience. They are fabulous. Hardly any seasoning in them at all, which is great. Sometimes they can be over seasoned. I've seen them with food. I'm sure it's food colouring. I'm going to put that to one side and find out what this is. Just ask for the battered sausage. I've got a feeling that they provided the battered sausage and chips, and we don't need the chips. So yeah, we bought another portion of chips. So that's not so good. So we just asked for the battered sausage, but maybe they only do the meals. So let's have a little try of it anyway. Again, it looks like they're beer batter. Sausage breaks apart nicely. Sausage is very firm, maybe a little too firm, but it seems like a good quality sausage. So okay, let's break this down a little bit. The hake was delicious. It was a real surprise that, because I haven't had battered hake. And I know some people frown on it. It should be cod or it should be haddock. The battered hake was delicious. I wouldn't shy away from it again. If it was on the menu, there's every chance I could get it. If the price was a lot cheaper than the cod or the haddock, say. Then we go to the cod and chips. Delicious. Really was. I'm going to finish that off in a minute. I can't wait. Mushy peas, spot on. Tartar sauce, really nice. Coleslaw, really nice. Chips were great. Battered sausage, it was a good battered sausage. So all in all, absolutely, well, I'll let you know at the end of this video. Right, okay, well, what a beautiful place Moraira is. Why is it so hard to say? But anyway, I think it's because nobody's actually said it to me in Spain. I think once you hear how it should be said, that should really be it. And I forgot to turn my lights off in my office here. Close the door to the laundry room there, and close the door to outside. Now I have my outside door, garage door, one side of it. I have the door side open when it's a nice sunny day, and I have a mesh down to stop any bugs getting in. So there might be a few passers-by because I'm not going to mess about with everything now. So yeah, what a fabulous fish and chip shop, and the huge car park, and the distance to the chip shop was the distance to the beach the other way from where I parked in the car park. So that was fabulous. It really was. And what a beautiful beach. Nice bars. You can get you, well, we did. We had a pint of beer each after, a pint of lager each, and some tapas. You got to have your tapas. You got to have your Spanish food while you're there. 1 star. Wanted to go for dinner last night. There was a sign, abierto, in the entrance door. I sat down at the table, and a few minutes later, a vulgar English lady made it clear to me that they were closed. Strangely, the restaurant was open at the entrance door, but apparently the Brexit people do not take Spanish customs into account. Go back to your island and stay there. I mean, that's horrible. That's really horrible. You know, I don't like viciousness. Whatever your political views or anything, I don't like viciousness from either side to either side or whatever. And that's just bang out of order. Response from the owner. Hi Joe. Our opening hours are clearly displayed on the sign outside and on Google, Facebook and TripAdvisor. You arrived after we were closed and our fryers turned off, so you were informed politely that we were closed. You then swore at our lovely waitress, who isn't the slightest bit vulgar. Your insults relating to Brexit are extremely offensive. We have been open for 13 years. We all love our Spanish culture and never received a more offensive review. Well, that's pretty offensive, and a 1-star for not being open during hours that they are officially closed. I mean, that's just pure, just say evil then. That might be a stretch too far. He's certainly not nice. 3-star. Had takeaway fish and chips, pleasant people. The batter was excellent, the fish rather tasteless, and the chips limp. I ate them very shortly after buying, but the steam had done its damage. Next time I will eat in or ask for the box to be left open, and I will go for haddock, not cod. I think eating in is the best option. Eating in, depending on your budget too, because it's often more expensive because you've got waiter service and dishes and everything has to be cleaned and the table, chairs, all that kind of stuff. So, it can be a bit more expensive, but, you can be paying for that. So, weigh up your situation, or you may just want to take fish and chips down to the beach, eat it in the car, whatever. But yeah, you often get a crispier fish and crispier chips if they've not been sealed, or that's just the way it is. That's just the way it goes. Response from the owner. Hi, Henry. We are sorry you found the chips limp. They are homemade every morning and twice fried to order for crispiness. Unfortunately, with takeaways, the steam after wrapping has an effect, so eating in our restaurant will always give you the best quality. With regard to our fish, it is always cold water North Atlantic cod or haddock, which is frozen at sea for ultimate freshness. That's the best way to go when they're frozen at sea like that it is. I mean, that's how most chippies serve up their fish. And we have used the same fish since opening 13 years ago. So we hope you'll give it another try soon and try eating in our restaurant. 5-star. This was the most amazing fish and chips we have ever had, anywhere, including the UK. Portion sizes were huge and cooked to perfection. Our servers, Nikki and Cherry, ran up and down the stairs. See, when you go in, all the seating areas downstairs, there is some more steps to the side. I'm not sure what happens with that, whether there's an upstairs, but I don't know. But there is steps up to where the range is and the pans, and it's up and down. You could imagine it'd be great exercise, wouldn't it? They were running up and down the stairs constantly from the seating area to the takeaway area, constantly, and never stopped. The service was amazing too. I'd go as far as to say that some top-notch restaurants could take a leaf out of their book for service and quality. We will be back. Response from the owner. Wow, thank you, Helen. This is high praise indeed. Our waitresses do keep very fit, don't they? We look forward to seeing you again soon. Mine, 5 stars. While touring Costa Blanca on behalf of the Chippy Tour, I'd heard a lot of good things about Fishy, so I made sure to include it in my visit, and I was so glad I did. There is a huge free car park just across the road between Fishy and the beach, so no problem there. The shop is well organised and has a very traditional chip shop feel, with the added option to dine under cover outside as well. The shop was spotlessly clean and tidy, and the staff were pleasant, polite and helpful. The food was delicious. The hake was encased in a light crispy beer batter, with the flesh almost rattling around inside, not stuck to the sides. The cod was also delightful, again in that tasty batter. It was a large portion and quite thick. The chips were light in colour, crispy in places, with a nice, slightly firm texture. The in-house coleslaw had plenty of strips of crisp, fresh salad, without being overpowered by too much mayonnaise. The mushy peas were just as I liked them, thick and plentiful. There was a trick to creating great battered sausage, And although this one was quite firm, it had the texture and taste of a quality sausage, with the batter holding on perfectly. Cooking in oil, card or cash, fish reviewed, hake and cod.
Oh, na na na, it's the Chippy Tour, cruising the coast, can't ignore. With every bite, I'm loving it more. Saving the chippies, that's what I'm for. Yo, I hit the road, got salt in my veins. From London to Scotland, through sunshine and rain. Fish and chips in my hand, it's a noble quest. Supporting the classics, yeah, I'm doing my best. Met a bloke in Troon with a tempura squid. A castle in Wales where I had my bid. From mushy piece of battered Mars bar. A culinary Johnny, I'm a food rock star. I'm the Chippy Tour, tasting it all. Beef fritter scraps, yeah, I answer the call. Savory scallops, deep fried dreams, keeping chippies alive, that's my team. Biggest fish